computer program at the water plant. He completely did it from scratch. He is
Really,
I mean,
really
he
good.
is the smartest person I've ever met. No, I'm not even, he is.
Yeah, he's good. He's a good guy.
So we
As far
definitely don't
as-
wanna lose this.
No, mm-mm.
Yeah, I don't.
Unless you wanna pay tons for a new one.
So, well, we haven't made a motion, I don't think yet. So we're just wanting to make a motion to fix it, and then you'll get more bids, and then we can look at the bids?
Yeah, then we can look at pricing, yeah. Bonnie said there is some money in the water repair system fund, that there's more than enough to cover it.
How soon do you need this done?
But I'd like to have it done before August, but I don't know if, that's gonna be possible with his schedule or anybody else's schedule, because they're so busy right now,
We need to get on the schedule ASAP. We need to get on the schedule,
Yeah,
yeah.
and I think with the bids, you need to have a time frame, because if push comes to shove, we should put this on October's budget. If I,
Right.
instead of, not that we would go over budget now, I mean, we'll be fine.
But it'd give us more cushion.
So,
Right, because then I could actually put that budget amount to that account instead. So we've got cushion, we've got 200, what we have left is, right now, 360,000 in water.
Let's see what the estimates, what you get.
so a question about that, like, if we wait till July to look at the estimates, is that going to give them enough time to get it done by August? Or is there gonna be a special meeting, or do we wanna set like a cap? Where if it goes over, then we have to have a special meeting, just so that we can
Start getting the ball rolling.
get rolling on this? That's what I'm just,
Get on
that's what
the-
I'm
get on the
asking.
schedule.
Right, so that's what I'm asking, do we want to set a cap, and if it goes over, then it requires a special meeting to look at the quotes, or do we want to wait until we get the quotes, like timing wise, just trying to figure out the best way to get it done before our driest month?
It sounds like we didn't have to publish the bids, because it's between $50,000 and $100,000.
Right, for us to just set a cap for you to just spend
Right.
up to, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I get it, but, Wendy, what were you saying?
We have to submit written requests to at least 3 different licensed public works contractors, because this is gonna be over $50,000, and then we have to take the lowest bid. So, but that doesn't mean that there will be a maximum out there, it just says that we have to take the lowest bid.
Right. You need to get those pronto.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
2 other companies I can call that I know of. I mean, I can look in the book too and see if anybody else wants to. I'll call
They have to
Stillman.
be licensed public works contractors, because
Okay.
this is water
Maybe
system.
Stillman will know. I'll call Stillman, our engineer, and see if he can give me recommend some different licensed
Or maybe I
utility
do a rural
workers.
water too.
Oh, rural water, yeah, I can try rural water too, so.
All right.
So we just wanna,
So are we just,
go to, let go for a month?
Or do you want to just say, we want to repair the water well, number 9, and accept the lowest bid?
Yeah,
because I think that's what we have to do, right?
I copied that as a motion. What just came out of his mouth? So I don't have to repeat it.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Copy and paste. Right, Dustin?
Yeah,
You
copy.
didn't take the glasses. All right.
Here's the backhoe.
Oh, are we on the backhoe?
Yeah.
Okay, so the backhoe, so you guys remember when, well, a couple summers ago, the backhoe was overheating and the girls were driving it and we weren't sure exactly what it was. And then the next year, the next summer, Josh asked City Council to buy a radiator and we put a new radiator in it. Well, it's still having the same problem, and Joe is an excellent mechanic. He got in there, and while it was running, he discovered there's a crack in the housing around the fan where the water pump and all that is, and it's leaking water out of it. So, and I will let him tell you what the cost is and that kind of thing. if the backhoe needs to leave Juliaetta, I talked to Rose Norris today. We can use Kendrick's backhoe if we have an emergency, and also they will send Chris down with the mini hoe if they need to. So Joe can talk about the hourly rate and the options with the getting it fixed.
So I went down and talked to Cat, and they said to have, it's gonna be about a 20-hour project to do. So to have them come out for 2 days, it'd be about $4,000.
So that's on-site service
On-site
for them to send their truck.
And that ain't guaranteed that they might not come another day. That's just what they estimated at. If they take it, and that's $200 an hour for them to come out. It's $170 an hour for them, if we have them take it down there and work on it there in the shop. It costs $500 round trip to have it taken down and brought back if they haul it. So if it takes 3 days, it's gonna be a cost savings to take it down there. If it takes 2 days, it'll be a wash. I could do it, but the problem is with all the things that we have going on right now, I don't have time to be like probably 3 or 4 weeks to fix it. Because if I'd work on a little each day, all I could do, I couldn't just continue to just work on it and get it done.
So I guess the options are have them come out, pay a quick fee, have them try to work on it in our shop at a higher hourly rate, or just have them come get it, take it, do it all, bring it back, or, or Joe can do it. I mean, if you want him to do it, but it's gonna take it's gonna take time, and, it might just, the other option, we were talking about is, I did get the backhoe file. It is a 1997 model, so it is 27 years old.
And
So-
we are working in around water, and it does have a few leaks that I've been trying to figure out where they're at and fix it, but when you're working with water, you can't have any leaks.
So, not this time, we're not talking about buying a new one today, but maybe looking at the possibility down the road, because we've been spending money on this backhoe. I had to get 2 hoses replaced a couple of months ago because we didn't have the right wrench. And now it's been leaking and just, I don't know what the useful life or.
And the motor's been overheated a few times, and it's not good on it. They
If
said
they
those are not
repair
good.
it, must be a warranty, will there be a work warranty?
Oh, I think you
Yeah.
have one.
Versus like if you do it.
Yeah.
Warranty.
Well, one of the things that we risk, like, especially with being an older piece of equipment, is if it's at their shop, they're gonna have access to the whole parts area there.
Yeah,
If they miss a part, then that's more travel time to come back
And you're
up
looking
here.
at, I think they said it's about 40 minutes is what they charge travel time.
Makes sense to take it there.
So it's about $200.
So did you say you thought it would be under 5,000?
It'd be, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they figured labor would be right up, if we do it in-house, labor would be, just the labor is 4,000 plus parts. If they do it down there, it's gonna be about 3,200 plus parts.
If we got a new one down the line, that would be like a trade-in, right?
Yeah.
Well,
And the better this runs, the better trade-in we're in.
Oh, yeah.
so.
I mean, it has to be fixed, because we can't run it the way it is right now.
Gotcha,
Yeah.
Because you're dumping 2 gallons of water in every hour.
gotcha.
So how Frank purchased this one was there's a state law that says if a company sells a backhoe to another state entity for this price, then they have to extend that price to another state entity. So the city of Idaho Falls bought like 4 and got that backhoe for $70,000.
Gotcha.
And we got it for $70,000.
So we need to find
But it's like
somebody who's getting ready to
$130,000 backhoe.
buy a bunch of backhoes and jump on the bandwagon
So,
eventually.
I would say like 3 to 5 years, kind of just get it to where.
So, you said it had a couple leaks, is that something that they can look at while it's down there, maybe just?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna.
Yeah, get them
Look at it.
working on that,
And then get an estimate on having, maybe have them fix that too before they do it.
because that way there we wouldn't be leaking around water.
yeah. So I feel like the weather is really bad news. But
Go stand in the corner.
it's machines and
Yeah.
everything just is,
Get worn out, wear out.
I'm kinda leaning towards taking it down there and
Yeah.
letting Brad and the guys do it.
Okay.
I agree. Most feasible.
I motion to send the backhoe down to Western States and
Okay.
I second.
Plus I share an office with Brad, so I thought,
Oh,
was doing pretty well.
You worked on the budget. Oh.
Okay, Bonnie.
Okay, you're gonna need these anyway.
Okay, thank you.
This is your other fund that I usually send through email, but I'm not sure if you're noticing, that, I have a list here that, of how much interest we're getting and how much the percentage is. But like the library, and it states Latog, Federal Credit Union is the community library fund, and that has 22,000 just sitting there in an account, and it's only making $1.89, and it asks for 5 years.
So, question. What is the LGIP that you're wanting to move it into? Is that like a general fund?
No, it's the treasury, and it's usually it usually is 4.5 or higher every month.
So would it be still specifically for the library?
Yes.
Because I know that a lot of people, I mean, the city donated a lot of money, but a lot of people donated money to that for
Correct.
the library. So I want to make sure that it stays,
And if they need it, they can access
and
it
they
immediately.
can access it
Yes,
immediately.
within
like there's-
24 hours. All we do is call them and have them transfer. As a matter of fact, I just did a transfer for our loan payment.
Is there
and the
penalties
next-
or anything with?
Nope, no penalties.
So that would go from $1 something a month to approximately what?
About 20, no, about $50.
That's a huge
So,
difference annually.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, but you know, we're kind of losing out on like 1,200 the last 5 years. Also, this gentleman is from the library board, and I had contacted them to find out if they would give us a letter stating that they approve us putting it in the treasury for them also. So, and here's the letter. So you can pass it down if you'd like. So, yeah, they had their board meeting last month, and then they contacted me and said that they had a letter and he was gonna come. So,
Nice.
do you have anything you'd like to say, or?
No, I'm just Wade Schmidt. I live between Kendrick and Deary, down in Texas Ridge. I know Phil Stradley because he lived in my house when I bought it. And so Phil's a great guy
Yeah.
in doing some things there. But we're just trying to make sure we support the rural libraries. There's been some various challenges of people wanting to close some of the branch libraries. And so when I got elected a year ago, part of my goal was to help make sure we support the rural libraries, Juliaetta specifically. And so we've been looking at a lot of different options and trying to figure out how we can expand the Juliaetta library. So far, we haven't come up with a good option. We don't want to take over the post office. And we've been trying to come up with some property, and so we've looked at quite a few different options, but we haven't given up. We don't have a solution at this moment. But we definitely support moving this into a CD or in that treasury account. The treasury account. And so we wanted to do that.
Yeah, I'm good with that. I make a motion to transfer it over to the CD. I second that. Thank you.
Can I just make one little quick other thing? As a library, we've been looking for a new director, because Chris Sokol, the previous director, retired at the end of April. And this last week, we just offered a job contract to a new director. She used to live in Sandpoint. She's currently in Kansas, and she'll be starting July the 18th. And so we have a little quick notice here to all of you that sort of says, you know, our announcement of welcoming this new library director. So, and we focused heavily on this issue of supporting the rural libraries.
I know Chris was a big advocate for the library. We worked with her on the community library project when it started many, many years ago. I was kind of glad for Chris to retire, but sad to see her go, kind of thing.
She put in lots of good work, and I only worked with her for about 9 months, but so we're happy to do that. So yeah, for years. So,
I just need a clarification, are we putting the old CLP funds into a CD or into the LGIP?
LGIP.
Wendy said,
Oh,
move it
okay.
for a
So
CD,
motion
so I just,
to move it into the LGIP then, as Bonnie suggested.
And then it'll just be labeled, or?
Yes.
Okay.
It will have its own LGIP account number, and then also too, it will go into the library. It will be categorized under the library fund.
Well, thank you for coming this
Well,
evening.
thank you,
Thank you.
thank you for all the work that you do here. I'm gonna head on home.
Okay, next
My
on
wife
the
has dinner.
list is,
Drive safe. Have a good night.
we had a meeting with Stillman, and the idea was that, if we get all the funding we need, we'll have a $750,000 loan that we will have to pay off. But it's not until a year after construction is done. So I did a little spreadsheet that says if we start out with 200,000, and this is just approximate 4.51%, because that was last month. Our monthly interest is 903, so our yearly interest would be 10,000. You take, and then in 2025, we do another 200,000, we have 410. You multiply that by the year, you got 18. And in 4 years, we would have $857,749. We could pay that loan off outright, and I talked to Stillman, we would not get penalized. So we would still have close to $150,000 left in that LGIP account. If you remember 2 years ago, we had 2 loans out for the water improvement. We paid that one off 2 years early, and we saved a lot in interest. Right now, we are still at paying it off. Matter of fact, it's due in June 25th. And we pay $48,400 a year. Interest is $18,170 out of that $48,000, so we're only paying $30,000. We're not gonna get it paid off until 2032. Where if we are diligent, and our checking account has, if you look way down at the bottom, as of Monday, we had $638,124. Okay, when I started, and I went by 4 years ago, we only had $140,393 in the checking. So we are gaining in our checking account, but we are not doing things with that to gain interest or more funds. And this could alleviate the fact that utilities wouldn't need to be raised, because the idea of raising your utilities all the time is to help pay that loan off. But basically, the sewer right now, billing for a month, billing, not what we receive in, billing, is over 14,000. So if you're looking at like even the second year of putting another 200,000 in, that's 18,528. That would cover the billing for, so it would not need to be, keep being raised. Because right now, every month, Wendy calls in and we put $4,500 in to pay off this other loan, which has $384,000
So two things.
that we're still paying off.
You can avoid raising the residents'
Utilities.
utilities. That would be serving the public, that would be awesome.
Correct.
And the interest we would make would pay off one of those loans that we're gonna own.
Correct.
Oh,
Not the interest, but the
Yeah.
whole entire
Yeah.
thing if we keep adding.
sounds like a win-win.
So,
I mean, I'm all for not raising the rates. So what happens if the interest rate falls out and we can't make what we think we make? Then what are we gonna have to then raise the rates more? Like, I mean, that's what I'm just asking, like,
but
because we've seen the rates with the COVID stuff. I just wanna make sure that these rates aren't gonna, I mean, hopefully they go up, but what if they go down? Where's that gonna put us?
Is it fixed?
okay, so my thing is right now, if we just keep doing that at the 4.5, even if it goes down, you're still, when everything's said and done and you pay that $750,000, you've got $146,000 you're playing with, so to speak.
Right, so I'm just saying,
So
like,
if
if
it
it cuts
goes
in
down-
half, what is that gonna do to us?
I don't think it'll ever cut it in half, it never has.
Well, okay, so I think it's a very good time for him to ask that question, because Saudi Arabia just pulled out of the petrodollar, the Federal Reserve is gonna have to lower interest rates.
So I'm just wanting to make sure, I mean.
Yeah, but that's
if-
interest rates in most of the banks.
Well, and a
You're
lot of
not
times
talking
when we're-
about treasury.
When we're raising fees,
So-
it's because we're taking advice from other people. We're not doing it just to take
Right.
people's money.
Right, exactly.
Right.
So what I'm saying is, I mean, I'm all, like I
I
said.
mean, I don't wanna raise rates either. I mean,
Right.
it
I
costs all
just
this.
wanted, this sounds like a great idea, I'm just wondering, what's our contingency plan if
Mm-hmm.
this doesn't work? Because if it doesn't work, I mean, then are we gonna have to raise rates even more? Like, can we scale
Double
back?
rather than just a little bit at a
Right,
time.
so can we next year scale back on the rates and raise them a little bit just to have a buffer in case this falls through? That's just what I'm asking, what everybody's
Wait,
thoughts.
Yes.
if it
I
falls
think
through.
that you could, because if you have $638,000 in checking right now, you could actually, in all reality, put $250,000 in. But, okay, so here I have talked to Bailey, because we have unreserved funds, if you look at the financial statement. I'm not sure what page it is on, I haven't highlighted. In unreserved funds in the general fund, which is collected, $888,507, okay, is unreserved. In other words, that amount is not allocated to any fund. That is your reserve in case something does happen, okay? So, in order to do this, to do the checking thing, we would still have to hang on to it, but what we're gonna do is, the smartest way to do it, because it's in the general fund, instead of opening the budget, especially this late, and moving that 200,000 into the wastewater so that we can move it, because you have to have an account trail of what fund you're doing it in, is to just put it, use that reserve, and we will mark it on the budget. And then in October, we will turn around and create that LGIP account. And then every year after that, you put it, an additional 200,000 in for your budget.
Right, but, so we can monitor this year for year, because if it doesn't meet this and it drops out, I'm just worried about at the very end going, we didn't make it, and now we have to raise rates 30% all at once. That's gonna be hard for citizens. That's why I'm just wanting to make sure that
Right.
we have a contingency plan if this doesn't work. I mean,
But
that's
we
just
also,
what I'm asking.
yes, and we can do 250, I was just being generous because, you take 200,000, that's still 438,000. I know we are not gonna spend that the rest of this year. I guarantee that. Unless, the new water plant blows up for some reason, but then we've got insurance. But we are gaining in our checking account, and we are gaining in our unreserved, which means when the auditor talks, and that 888,000 is actually what she's talking about, that we have like close to 4 or 5 years, and I bet by next audit in January, she's gonna say, hey, you're 5 years okay. Because we are not doing anything with that, but it's good to have it. I'm not saying we need to empty it out, but that's how you have to move money out of your checking. You can't just say, well, I'm just gonna take it out of the checking account and move it. You can't do that because you have to allocate it to the right accounts so that you have a trail for your auditors.
So in a nutshell, you are suggesting what? To remove 200?
To put in the budget to move unreserved to wastewater so that we can put 200,000 in. Or if you wanna do 250 right now, we can do that, if it makes you feel a little safer. Because maybe 1 year we won't have 200,000, but if we have it, we can do that. And like I said, between the interest and everything, If it doesn't, we don't go out to bid, if we don't go out to bid this year, we probably aren't gonna be complete until 2027. That means we would have until 2028. Right now, it's projected if we go out to bid, and it takes us two years or whatever to get done, 26, we still have a year before we have to make our first payment. So even if we're short 1 year, the final year, we can still move money and still pay it off. So I mean, it's up to you guys, but this is just my game plan, because I hate seeing 18,170 go to interest and we're only paying 30,000.
Yeah.
And we're gonna be doing that until 2032. Because, and he was talking that the 750,000 would be a 30-year loan. That's the same thing, because they give you a low payment, but they take so much out in interest. It's like when you buy a truck or a car, you know, and they say, oh, well, you know, it's a 10-year payment plan. Well, yeah, you're only paying $250, but guess how much of that is interest? That's why you wanna make sure that if you take a loan out, it's as small as possible, so. Okay, I'm done. So this is actually for next budget. I just need to know if I need to do it so that when I show you the budget next month, you'll see it on there, so. We aren't gonna move the funds until October.
You wanna make the list?
So, just so we're, but, I mean, we can still, I just wanna make sure that we're keeping an eye on this in case things go south, that we're not gonna be raising the rates 30% at the end of this. That's just my big concern.
And we can do that, because that's why you get the other, that one, other deposits, and it's every month you get that, and it tells you exactly where we're at in all our accounts, especially LGIP, if I get it. If we have early and I don't get it, you get the month before, but like this time I just got it, so I didn't have time to change it, but
So what about the ordinance that we passed to increase rates X amount every 6 months? Is that still going through if we're doing
as
this?
far as I know, unless you wanna change it,
It's
So
not
we're-
one ordinance for every 6 months, we'll have to do that every 6 months. So in October, in order to raise the rates again by $4.50, we'd have to have another ordinance.
But if this is working, we won't have to do that, right?
That's what you guys decided.
I mean, is that what your thought is, Bonnie? That if this
Right.
works, we shouldn't have to do that?
Correct. And if you look at the LGIP 979, it has 200,000 in it right now, and look how much you had in interest, 903.
So Nick, I have a question, okay,
So,
just because I don't understand as well. What is your concern that we're not gonna get the 4.15% every year?
Right. So that's what my
It's-
concern is, so like if it says it cuts in half 1 year, and we're not gonna be able to pay it off as soon, and then we're gonna have to raise our rates at a larger amount at the very end to try and get this paid for. Whereas like, I mean, that's my only concern is because I've seen them fluctuate, so I just wanna make sure that we're watching it, and we have a contingency plan, because I know if we bank on this and then all of a sudden everything falls out and we have to raise rates 30%,
right,
some of our citizens are gonna be
But-
upset. So I just wanna make sure that
Yeah,
we're
but-
continuing to
Yeah.
watch that.
yeah.
So Bonnie, why do they fluctuate? Why does this rate fluctuate?
Same as because of the state. So, it's a state fund.
Which is based on the banking system, which is basically based on the economy, right?
No, it actually goes by what the state has,
Right.
so.
I wanna look a little further into that.
But I really have not seen it go too low. A lot of, We've
So what's the
gained a lot.
lowest you've seen it go though?
about 3.4.
But you don't know the factors as to why that dropped?
I believe it has to do with the states. The state makes that decision, because it's Well, it's the US Treasury.
Right, which they sell treasury bonds, is what I'm trying to say, is that,
Yeah.
not to nerd out on you,
And it's
but
not
the United
just the
States-
treasury bond.
I know, but I'm telling you, they're gonna have to get very inventive
Yeah.
they're gonna have to lower interest rates.
Right.
That's what I'm just trying to make the connection from what you're saying to what Nick's concerned about.
Right. So,
So I'm just trying to look at the likelihood that Nick's concerns are gonna come true, because it would be a disaster to go back to the public and say, oh, remember when we told you we were gonna not make you pay those rates? We were wrong.
Now we're gonna have to jump it by.
but
And
what I'm
Right.
saying is instead of doing the $4, because, you know, we're close to $50 a month as it is now for utilities, is maybe just do the regular 2% or what is it?
Well, 5, less than 5.
Less than 5% yearly, and see how it goes. I mean, this isn't long-term as in for the next 20 years, but even if we can pay most of this off, wouldn't it be nice that they didn't have to pay every 6 months
Yes.
an additional $4, and then we're pretty much up to $90? Because with Stillman, we were all in the meeting, Justin, Dick, and Wendy, where he was talking about the fact that, you know, we should not have to pay more than $75, it should be less. And, you know, he said, what your rate is right now is good if you do this plan. But I had talked to him about the plan also.
Why did the accountant bring this up to us a couple months ago when she was here?
Why didn't he bring it up to us a
Yeah,
couple months
why
ago when
wasn't
he was
this brought
talking
up to us
about raising
before?
rates?
Yeah.
Because Kendrick has got a big chunk of money.
Why wasn't it brought up before by then?
By
Do you know
who?
what- By the
Stillman
auditor?
or
Stillman.
the,
Auditor,
yeah,
Stillman,
Stillman or
anybody.
the auditor.
Because he just did a spreadsheet on it, because he didn't know how much the grants were gonna be. So,
Well, I'm all for, like I said, not raising rates, I just definitely think this is something we need to keep an eye on, just to make sure that we're gaining what we need to gain, so that we don't have to jump those
well, and also
so high in
too,
the case of emergency.
you know, I can make a spreadsheet that tells you how much we've gained in the last year.
Well, and I would kind of like
And-
Mark said, to know more about what affects those, like,
Yeah.
so like if it becomes Greater Idaho, where we absorb Oregon, I mean, is that gonna affect it? Like,
Right.
It's not even gonna happen.
Right, but with the
Like more of what
200,
goes into
the
it.
200,000 was like, when I started, it was like way down in 120s. So we have gained over 800,000, or not that much, but, thank you. But,
thoughts?
I said my thought, so I'm listening.
You have any more thoughts?
No, I wish we could get answers from Stillman. I mean,
Yeah, we don't.
he's
we
coming
don't-
next month,
We don't
too.
have to make a decision right now.
yeah, I wanna ask Stillman some
I
questions.
mean,
In
as
fact,
much as we table stuff, this to me is important, this doesn't hurt to table.
I would like some of my more financially savvy friends out there too to help me craft questions for Mr. Stillman
No,
for next month. I'm looking at one in particular.
Do you have any,
I like Bonnie's idea in that making $1 and some change a month is pretty pathetic. It's pretty sad, and we have the potential of making so much more. I'd rather make 50 a month, because my checking account over
Yeah.
$1. And if you're keeping them, if you're monitoring it, and she's letting us know as the months and the years go by, I don't want to go in with a negative attitude that's just not gonna work out, because everything's just gonna go down.
well, I wouldn't say that I have a negative
I don't- yeah, I don't
attitude, I
think
just
so. I
want
think
I
questions.
mean,
Well,
assuming the
I-
worst is what I mean.
I
Well-
think that's foresight, really. honestly.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask some, I moved.
Being
that we-
prepared.
Yeah, but when
being
our
prepared.
interest rates go down, like with the checking, okay, example, last month, when I reconciled this checking account, we got, out of that amount of money, we got $5.03. That's ridiculous. I
That
would
is
rather see
silly.
1.5.
We were the ones here, though, who made the discussion and vote to raise these. It was painful. We don't
Yeah,
want to
it
do it.
was.
We want to lower these rates, but I want some answers.
I move that we table it until, and talk to Stillman next month, because I want more answers and maybe find out how the interest rate is fluctuate, how it's calculated for Idaho, just so we have all of our answers. That's just my thoughts. I'm not trying to be negative, I just wanna make sure we get all the information to make an, educated decision.
The second.
I mentioned it.
Okay, I second. I second.
Passes. Yes, please.
I think I did most of my talking already.
He spent enough money.
I didn't bring anything.
I've got nothing.
I'm gonna pass right now.
Pass.
Please don't drive your four-wheelers on city streets and your motorcycles on city streets unless they're licensed and you do it correctly, or the trail. I'm gonna keep calling them, I'm gonna keep getting them. That's all I want.
I don't think that's anybody here.
No, she said no. And then Bonnie is, and there's no fire department unless you're representing Marty. So is Bonnie, do we know if Bonnie has anything else?
I'm not sure to the rest of them, I think.
Mark, you said that, Canada got a big chunk of money. When?
Oh, it's a rumor. There's a rumor going around that they got a big grant.
They did get a
Still
grant.
not
They
supposed to
did for
call
over
us
6.
Friday.
They did get a grant.
What's that?
They did get a grant. I was
Big
on,
old grant.
But
Yeah.
when?
For what?
just like here the last few days.
Because Stillman was supposed to call us back Friday because the USDA was closing all of their accounts, their end of budget year was Friday. So he was supposed to call us back and let us know if we got funded with more money. So, but he already told us they got 6.5 million. So they already had half their sewer project funded. I'm curious to know if they got more
I want Stillman right there. I want smart people to help me craft these questions.
or,
Yeah, that,
he told us they were only half funded
well,
at the meeting.
yeah.
Bonnie, you're up if you have anything.
Any staff reports? No?
No,
Okay, then I make a motion to move an executive session pursuant to Idaho Code 74-206, subsection 1B.
It is a roll call vote.
Yes, yes.
No.
You say that, and then last time you're like, I'm like, I'm getting